Coming to you from sunny California and the Great White North. Get ready. We are breaking down the obstacles on the Armchair Ninja Podcast. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Armchair Ninja Podcast. It is Friday, June 16th, 2017. My name is Rich, and joining me once again is Bijan. How you making out?
Woo! I am ready! A&W is back, baby!
We are going to have an awesome episode for you to kick off this season because we are joined by none other than the Genie Ninja, Thomas Stillings. How you doing, Thomas?
I'm doing very well, guys. Thanks for having me on the show. I'm a huge fan, and I am so amped for the show.
Yes. Welcome, my man. Huge fan of yours as well. So psyched to have you.
Thanks, guys. You know, like I said, I'm a huge fan of your guys'. You guys are an amazing thing for the community, and we as ninjas are just absolutely blessed to have you guys and have this podcast.
Oh, thanks. That's awesome.
Much appreciated.
If anybody's been listening to this listening to our podcast, they know how big of fans we are of you and the rest of the ninjas. So we are very excited that the season started again. We get into the main show. As much fun as Team Ninja Warrior is, there is nothing quite like American Ninja Warrior.
Dude, and this episode was a doozy.
Man, you guys have no idea. There was some stuff that wasn't even shown that I heard about that was just absolutely insane. I love the new obstacles that we got going on this year, and it's just going to be a heck of a ride for the rest of the season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Actually, Bijan has the inside scoop. For those who were paying attention, he was at the taping, so he did see some of the behind the scenes for this particular one.
Oh boy. That's a lot of pressure on me. Yeah, I was there for the first night, guys. So this episode, I'm in a few shots. I don't really care for it, but whatever. And yeah, I got some of the inside scoops. So it was a really fun taping to be a part of, and I'm really glad to actually see it and see the things that didn't make it on the show and see the things that did. Really interesting stuff.
Yeah, so overall impressions, guys, it sounds like everybody's excited. Everybody enjoyed the episode. Was there any real low points that you'd like to cover before we get into it?
Oh, I got something going. We'll cover it when we get to it. But overall, I really, really like this episode. There really wasn't much fat at all. I mean, this episode kept rolling. It was that 2 hours flew by, dude.
Yeah, I gotta agree. This episode was edited very well. I think it gave a lot of really good dynamic for athletes who did well and some who didn't do as well as they wanted to, but still, had that story and had that drive to be there. And it wasn't like overwhelming like in past seasons where they, you get an episode and you just be overwhelmed with all these crazy stories and you're like, I'm really excited for this guy. And there he goes down.
Yep.
Yes, a distinct lack of horse abs, I think. I don't think we had anybody.
Oh, don't bring up horse abs. Oh, don't you do it. Triggering.
No, there was lots of good stories, but they all did, at least moderately well. They hit their own personal milestones, and you can't ask for more than that. I thought it was a really good balance. Really enjoyed it. And strangely enough, I actually went to my parents' house, who do not watch the show, and watched it with them. And I think they actually cheered louder than me. They really got into it. So I don't know if they're going to watch the rest of the season, but it was nice to see them get into it.
Good to hear, man.
So taking a look at the course itself, we had the return of the floating steps. We had the new... really, this was so familiar because we watched Celebrity Ninja Warrior. I mean, obviously, the difficulty level is much greater, but we were very familiar with the overall setup from that. We had Cannonball Drop, Flywheels, Block Run, a Battering Ram, and Warped Wall. I guess for me, because I hadn't seen this before, I thought the Battering Ram looked way more difficult. That seemed to be the one that stood out the most.
Mm-hmm. The Battering Ram is definitely a tough one. The rolling dice definitely tripped up a lot of competitors during the taping as well. And the Cannonball, that was the big factor for the competitors that really were there for whatever reason, like their stories. Like the competitors that had a chance and the competitors that really didn't have a chance, the Cannonball Drop was really the X factor.
Thomas, as a competitor, I guess, when you look at a course like this, because I don't believe you were there, but when you looked at the obstacles, is there any that you were like, I wish I could have tried that one, or, oh God, thank God I didn't have to face that one?
For sure. I mean, I heard a lot of what happened. I planned on going, but unfortunately the time frame for me going wasn't copacetic with my schedule of just opening my gym that week. So wasn't doable, but I heard of a lot of what happened. I saw some of the obstacles, and I was really excited for, in particular, the battering ram. That one looked like it was really fun. I couldn't wait to see it in action. The technique was really close to the pipe fitter that Atlanta had last year. And I was like, oh, we have something like that similar to us for San Antonio at Power Park Fitness, where I've trained at multiple times. So I was really excited to try that one. The cannonball drop looked like an interesting change of pace because, we're used to grabbing onto the big balls from like Atomic or 3-ball. But this one is just a monstrous size, and the thing to grab onto at the top was, extended up too. So you had multiple options on how you wanted to grab it, whether you wanted to choke up into it with your collarbone and your chin or just kind of keep it away from your face. Mm-hmm. But out of all the obstacles that I saw that I was absolutely looking at, and I'm like, I really am happy we didn't get that, it was block run. I did not want to touch that obstacle with the 20-foot pole.
Yeah, that was a very tricky one from what I saw from a lot of competitors. And I love the mix-up of what they have with these obstacles. It implemented various parts of the body with the core, your forearm strength, your bicep strength, as you're like alluding to, balance, like various different aspects of your body. And I love the mix of it because we've seen previous episodes in previous seasons, like we'd have a course and it's almost all upper body, right? And it'd be like, it's like, what are you guys doing? I love the mix up that they had with this.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, when you're looking at a course, we definitely, as competitors, will analyze the balance, like you said, on, how much of my body and my grip is going to be used here and how much of my lower body is going to be used here. And you see that in the more veteran competitors. They are very good at conserving their energy for things in particular. When you have an obstacle that's mainly lower body and then you have an upper body obstacle next, you don't see a lot of the veterans sitting there for 5 minutes just shaking their arms out, ready to hype, because it's like, okay, I just used my legs. My arms are fine. I don't need to rest as long here. And that's where you get, guys who are really fast to the more guys who are, either it's their first season or, that this is the furthest they've gone and they just want to make sure they get past that next obstacle.
Mm-hmm. Very good point.
Yeah, for sure.
By the way, I heard you were alluding to your gym. What's the name of your gym, bro?
Yeah, so I just opened up my own gym here in San Antonio. It's called Jump Flip Land, and that name was kind of spun off from my business partner and I thinking of, what are we going to name our gym? And when we've been teaching gymnastics and tumbling for years, and, we tell everybody you can break down any flip and understand how to do any flip if you just fully understand and execute these 3 steps. You jump, then you flip, then you land. If you try to flip while you're jumping, it's not going to work because you don't get any height.
Nice. I love the explanation of the title. Yeah. That's awesome, dude.
Yeah, it's a good play on words. That's great. Congratulations on opening your own gym. That's really cool.
Thank you. It's been a long process. I couldn't have done it with the amazing support from the community, from family, from friends. And, at some point in my life, I've been coaching since I was 16. I had the experience in working in a gym. I understood how certain things were run, and it was just time to finally leave where I was at to go to where I wanted to be. And I just had to actually, get up and make that move and just stop sitting there saying, I want to do this, I want to do that. No, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do it now.
The time is right. Ninja's on the rise. We keep thinking it's maxed out, but every year it gets bigger and better and more popular. I love the rise of Ninja over the last couple of years. Of course, it helps us with the podcast too, but it really kind of took off. You would think it would die down a little bit with there finally being a winner, but it's the opposite. It's just gotten bigger. Oh
yeah, and also there's like 5 shows now covering this sport, like different aspects of the sport of obstacle courses. So in just overall, it's become a very culturally relevant show as being the forefront, the hallmark of this entire sport. And I really much appreciate that.
Okay, I feel like we're taking forever to actually get into the runs themselves. Let's get into how everyone did, because I think
there's runs on this episode?
Yeah.
I thought we were just going to talk.
That tried the course, yeah.
Oh, snap, dude. Oh, my notes are screwed.
So right off the bat, we had Mike Abasco from Mount Charleston near Las Vegas. He lives on a farm basically up in the mountains. Lots of snow, that close to Vegas.
Oh, that house. Dude, that house, it it made me really question, like, should I live in the middle of nowhere if I can have a house like that? Boy, was that nice.
Beautiful place. Beautiful place. But I have to say, I resent people that live that close to heat and nice weather getting snow, too. Like, that's not fair to me at all.
I can't talk.
You're supposed to pick. You can't have both. That's not fair.
Oh, why not? I mean, there's a lot of people who do that. I mean, you live one place and you travel 15 minutes and then you can go snowboarding.
Yeah, I can do that when I travel and shovel out my car to go snowboarding, sure.
I don't think Rich knows what, like, 80-degree or 90-degree weather is. Poor Rich.
Oh, well, you got to come down to Texas, feel our Texas heat, because it's not only hot, it's humid, so you sweat a lot.
I love how, I said, let's get into the runs, and then we just went on this, we diverged again. So, back to poor Mike, who ran.
3-hour podcast, coming up.
Dude went, like, back first into the pads coming off Cannonball Drop. That was painful.
Ooh, that looked painful.
That was how we were going to start it off, with a guy darn near breaking his back in two.
I think that's a great way to start the episode. I mean, you get everyone, you get their attention right off the bat on just how, insane this second obstacle is. It's not something just to think, oh, it's, first couple obstacles are always a gimme. No, you got to hit every obstacle like it's the hardest one on the course.
Exactly. It shows off the difficulty and kind of the danger of the course. And yeah, I'm all for it. With that said, I'm very glad he's safe. I'm very glad they had a pad right there.
Yeah, that's good. No, it is probably good to show that off, because it does kind of just seem like a version of the log grip.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I have a feeling this is actually harder than the log grip, though.
Yeah,
it definitely looks like it's harder. The technique is similar but different. It looked like it was, to me, it was a combination of the log drop and the pipe slider.
Yeah, that's a good analogy, because I've never done the log grip. I feel like that's nobody has a log grip to, like, that people can train on. But with this, like, a lot of people have been on cannonballs, and it takes so much grip strength to hold on to those things. So having the implementation of going so fast in those drops really does a lot on your hands.
It definitely does, especially, if you when you go back and, you look at how the cannonball drop actually was. Like I said, the top is very big. It's not like, the atomic or three balls, the atomic and 3-ball beast balls are, where you have the eye hole that's really small. No, this one's big, so it spreads out your hand. So you actually have to use a lot of that hand and forearm grip that most people haven't really trained to use those grips and slide down an obstacle while taking drops simultaneously.
Exactly, dude.
All right, so the next person running the course was Kevin De Bruin, an aerospace engineer. He had the whole crowd cheering Rocket Man, which was pretty cool. This guy was huge. He's 6'4", 200 pounds, and he was running second for the episode. My hopes for him were not very high.
No, I mean, I don't know. It was just a run to me with this one.
Yeah, well, it's funny because I started trying to, I'm playing the expert. I'm sitting with my parents, so I'm telling, like, this guy is not going to make it through, because they're all impressed. Like, this guy is huge. I'm like, yeah, but yeah, he's going to struggle in the flywheels, and sure enough, that's where he fell. He failed on the dismount.
Yeah, it looked like if he needed to work a little bit more of his core and kipping technique for starting a swing from stationary.
What he needs to do is hit up Anthony Trucks. We'll get to that later, but holy crap.
Yeah, I was wrong on him, that's for sure. Next we had Anna Christensen. She was great. The brass ninja, single mom, working in the tunnels. She was like an inspirational story, but she was strong. She was like really, really cool. She ended up falling on the first transition on the battering ram, but I really want to keep an eye out for her. I think she could do really well.
Oh yeah, I absolutely adore her story. It was very tightly done. It wasn't too prolonged or anything, and very relatable. I feel like a lot of women watching at home can relate to her story and can appreciate just how independent she is. So I really, really liked her, and I was rooting for her the whole way.
I just want to throw this out there is when I was getting ready when you guys told me you wanted me on the podcast and to help you out with this little interview thing, I actually made notes on a lot of the athletes, and she's one of the ones I specifically put down. The Brass Ninja is a name you're going to want to remember in the ninja world, and she's absolutely talented and strong, and like you said, her story is very relatable, and it wasn't overplayed. It was very it was very relatable and edited in a way where it's here she is, here's her story, you have the impact, you have a feeling to get to know her, and now let's show you how awesome she is.
Exactly, dude. And I have to say, I love the way she's marketing herself. Like, she gets it. She gets the show. Brass Ninja, plays the part, plays the camera. Like, she's very likable in terms of presence and everything. I loved everything about it.
Next we had Joe Hayden, and I'm telling you, this guy had the story to end all stories. This was like gut-wrenching.
Oh my god.
This guy, he was fighting cancer. He had stage 3 pancreatic cancer. They called him the Hopeful Warrior. He started training for Ninja, got into good shape, and then didn't come back. This is a story that really drew you in. This is one of those ones that you don't forget.
One of the best stories I've ever seen on American Ninja Warrior. Absolutely just devastating. And the emotion involved with the story really hit home. I mean, I was like tearing up watching this, and I don't even know the guy, but I can just feel the pain, especially for his family. I mean, it sucks so much seeing that he has like all these young kids and everything. It was really hard to see. I really wish all of them the absolute best.
Yeah, when I was sitting home, I was watching this episode. I honestly didn't know that a guy like this competed in LA, and I saw his story. And as a competitor, when we watch the show, especially an episode we've been on, and sometimes our runs aren't shown, or somebody we know isn't shown, and we're just like, why show this guy who's it's this and that. I don't care about the story. He was probably one of the first first competitors and just people whose story, like you said, Bijan, just brought me in, and I was tearing up too, and I was like, I really want this guy to do well.
Yeah, it was just so compelling, and like this is the thing about A&W. I mean, there can be complete unknowns, but the instant you hear their story, if it's compelling, it really draws you in like so much. You really want them to do well. And this is the way they need to do it. I mean, obviously, we can't have all stories like this. That would be just absolutely devastating to everybody. But like, everybody has to have so much respect for this guy. Going through with this training, hearing like everything that, what a gut punch it's got to be to hear that, the cancer is back, but yet he still went through with the run and actually like got through some obstacles. That's really impressive to me.
So moving on to a kind of a more upbeat competitor, we had Paige Chapman.
Paige! Yes! All right, I'm taking over. So, Paige Chapman, she is from San Diego. She is awesome, guys. Definitely keep an eye out for her. This woman trains relentlessly out here in San Diego every time. And I very rarely go to ninja gyms and everything, but every time I do, there's two people that are always there. Paige Chapman and Sandra, who we'll talk about at the end of the episode. And man, she is like the nicest lady you'll ever meet, but she trains so hardcore. She's probably the top female ninja out here in Southern California. Definitely keep an eye out for her. It's brutal she didn't make it through to the finals, but she is so good, and I have to imagine she's going to be back. I was so happy for her.
So yeah, Lil Beast, as they called her, has 4 kids. She's a massage therapist. She just made it past block run. She fell to her knees. It didn't look like she was going to make it, but she did manage to pull through. And she ended up falling on the second battering ram. She was doing so well. I thought she was going to actually beat it. She was really compelling, seemed really strong, and yeah, hopefully we'll see her again.
Oh yeah, for sure. And Bijan, you need to let Paige know that I want her as my massage therapist. I want to be a client because she is insane. I loved her style. I loved her movement. And she's bigger than I am. So I want her to give me a deep tissue massage.
Dude, I'll relay the message. I was unaware that she was a massage therapist. I feel like I was not in the know. I was like, I thought she just lives working out. Dude, I think I need to get a massage. She is awesome, and I have to say, her kids probably train more than she does. Her kids are always on those obstacles. Really cool family. I'm happy for them.
We have to get into this next run. Daniel Moreno. He was a walk-on combat engineer. Cluster of blood vessels in his brain. They had to cut open his skull and took out 30% of his brain, which I didn't even know they could do. If that wasn't enough, I was like, oh, geez, this guy must do really well. Yeah, he does well, but he also hit his face on the flywheels His blood's streaming down his face. I don't think I've ever seen a bloodier competitor on this course. Made it to the wall, but ended up just missing it in the end. But dude looked like something out of a horror film by the end.
Yeah, I loved his run. It is tied, guys, for the athletically profound run of the night. Woo, let's get it! And I gotta say, I loved this run so much. I always bring up Jeff Britton's third stage run and how much I loved just seeing the emotion and the grit in his face. And this guy never gave up. He just showed so much heart, not just from his story, but like everything about him. His story, him overcoming the odds once, then him busting his eye open, like really bad. I mean, that blow was in his eye, so that's gotta be really hard to focus on anything you're doing. And him gutting it out through all of the obstacles on that course. Like, I loved everything about this guy. I loved the run, and I was rooting for him so much to get up that warped wall. It was brutal. I was like, just do it, man! But I'm very happy we'll see him in the finals. I really hope he goes all the way, because this guy's a star in the making, guys.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I was watching his run, and I saw him take that hit, and I'm like, oh, he's going to feel that in the morning. I saw the blood, and I'm like, okay, now I know he's definitely going to feel that in the morning. And he still keeps going. He's just like, whatever. There's no big deal for me. And I was like, this guy's got a lot of heart. He's got a lot of determination. I really like the enthusiasm and energy he's bringing to the course. And then he got to the wall, and I was really hoping he got up at the wall, up the wall. And I thought to myself, at the same time, I hope he gets up. But it's weird that we're now in season 9 and we still have people failing the warped wall.
If it was a half foot shorter, he would have had it though.
That is true. Yeah, it's the new half foot is getting a lot of people because it's not just the extra foot, it's the angle and the radius that sometimes they change up every year.
I saw someone make the comment that actually made it easier, that the angle has been made easier over time. Would you say that's fair, or is it just vary so much it could be different everywhere?
It varies. It varies every year. I mean, season 8, the radius, I definitely felt like the radius was really easy. In Team Ninja Warrior, I loved the radius. I was able actually to do it with one arm for fun one time. And then this year, looking at that radius, it was just like, okay, there's something different about it.
Yeah. Hey, Tom, is there a difference, have you noticed, between the warped wall in the Vegas finals and the ones in the qualifiers, or is it the same?
I feel like there is a difference, but at the same time, the past 2 years when I've gone to Vegas and I've done the wall, when I run, I get crazy tunnel vision, so it's hard for me to really take notice of that.
Right. Stage 1's all about time, right? So it's like, who has time? And just get up the wall and go.
Yeah, just go.
You guys have no idea.
So we've been really positive through this whole episode so far. I got to take a second because I do have a couple problems with this run now that I think about it. One, they should have stopped and bandaged his face before he continued on. Would you agree, or do you think it's better to just kind of push through?
I mean, I understand both sides of it. It's a run that you don't want to break up, and it's all about like timing and everything. So letting somebody have a breather is kind of iffy. But I see the other side, which I'm pretty sure you're alluding to, the fact that where it's like safety with the blood and everything like that. He could be concussed, but I don't know. I feel like they probably checked up on him a little bit. It was like, hey, are you okay? And he's like, sure. I don't know.
It's 50-50. I mean, like what John said, it's just a matter of, honestly, how he was feeling. A&W has an amazing crew. They have an amazing ATS team that's always there for safety. I wasn't there, but I do have a feeling that every time before he got to an obstacle, they were looking at him like a hawk to see, okay, is he wobbling? Is he look like he's going in and out? Let's check in on him. Hey, are you okay to continue? And if he gave them the thumbs up, they're like, okay, but I feel like they were still watching him like a hawk just in case and ready to dive in to save him if they needed to.
Yeah, good point, man. I mean, when I was there, they have so much like medical staff just ready to go. They were definitely probably all over that guy, like on the sidelines.
Okay, so my other concern, not as strong, but I did see some posts, some comments about it. You know, I have kids and you guys both work with kids. Do you think it was wrong to let it either to air that run because of all the blood, or should they have, stopped the bleeding because of it? Because it's a little scary for kids, right? To see a guy bleeding that much and continuing on.
Dude, I mean, wrestling is rated PG or whatever, and there's so much more blood on that. These things just happen. Children are going to see blood throughout their life. It wasn't gory. It wasn't over the top. This guy wasn't a complete mask of blood or anything. It's whatever to me. I seriously don't have any problems with it, honestly. By the fact that I work with kids, I know kids have seen and heard way, way worse.
I will second that.
Fair enough. Anthony Trucks, I know you've been dying to talk about him, Bijan. Go ahead. Let it all out.
This guy was freaking awesome, dude. Like, first of all, his training montage was ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. But then his story was awesome. Like, just everything about it, by the fact that he came from a foster home, and I grew up knowing some foster kids, and that life is rough, guys. Like, really rough. And he found this amazing family. He went on to the NFL, and now he's on this show. And this guy is a complete underdog on a show like this because he's got a lot of things going against him. His size, his weight. I mean, we've all seen the NFL players on this show. Yeah. They don't technically do all that well. And I appreciate the fact that Akbar, reminded us about that. And this guy just showed so much heart getting through all these obstacles that were very, very, very tough on somebody like that. I was like, there is no way he's getting past the flywheels. And if he's getting past that, he's not getting past the second to last obstacle either. So the whole run, I was floored. This guy was amazing.
Yeah, this guy is the one that made me look a little foolish. But I mean, I'm sitting there making predictions like, oh yeah, this guy's going out here. This guy's going oh, he's going to have trouble with this. So I looked at my parents. I'm like, oh, this guy is going to fall in the battering ram. Like I'll give him credit. I think he looks strong. He'll go through the flywheels, but he's not getting past the battering ram. And I was totally wrong.
This run was definitely in my top 10 runs of, probably almost all of qualifying, because I agree. I'm in the same boat as you, Richard. I saw this guy and I was like, okay, he's another NFL player. We're going to have a big splash right here. Oh, he's actually kicking butt. Let's go. Let's do this. He broke that barrier that, he came from another sport, but he wanted to do Ninja Warrior. And he's like, I'm going to train for this and I'm going to show the diversity in my training. And, he had that story that wasn't just, hey, I'm from the NFL. I'm awesome. I'm an NFL athlete. Not many people can do that. This is how I grew up. This is how I got from here to here. They didn't really touch a whole lot in the NFL. They focused on his actual story, and it allowed you to really, connect with him as a person in that run. And then he just stole your heart away once he hit that buzzer.
Yeah, I feel like the producers were probably slipping on their own drool when he hit that buzzer. And he does the hand pump for a trucker. He's got the last name Trucks. He's got a great catchphrase, great name, great personality. He's just everything you could possibly want. I feel like they were probably just loving that guy.
I feel like, we can just start a trend right now with him. He is officially the NFL Ninja. He has earned that title.
There you go. Footballer Ninja, NFL Ninja. Yeah, this guy's got so many nicknames in the bag for him.
Oh, this truck has no brakes.
Love him. Lordy.
I liked it. I don't care. I know a lot of this stuff is cheesy. I still love it.
Hey, we saw those Team Ninja Warrior names. It can't get any worse than that. So.
I feel like we actually did we give Thomas a hard time about wings? I feel like we did.
Probably, but it wasn't in the absolute bottom barrel, awful.
Well, I mean, some of those Team Ninja Warrior names were silly, but I liked a lot of them because I like the cheesiness. I love the cheesy names and the cheesy comments. So I'm like, yes, let's do this.
Me too. Le Breakfast Club. I don't care what Bijan thinks. I thought that was a great name.
I love.
Yeah, you guys like name. Invincibles as well. Invincibles what's the other stuff that just makes me want to die inside? Just.
Okay, before we carry on, I gotta ask Thomas, why no genie? Why is there no genie in your name?
Oh yeah,
because the other members of my team were reluctant to wear genie pants. So it was kind of like, okay, we're gonna go with maybe the jump genies or. The movement genies or something, and it was like, all right, who's gonna wear the genie pants? And they were all like,
I'd be all over those genie pants. What you need to do is get a bell, bro, and go just straight up Game of Thrones and go, shame!
Oh, I also feel like I need to apologize to the listeners because Bijan has bought a bell for some reason for this podcast now. So we're going to be inundated with the bell from now on.
Loving it.
Well, I mean, I've been brought onto this podcast, so it had to get more hype than normal.
That's right, bro.
We're kicking it up to 11.
We're kicking it up to 1,000.
Oh, you are about to see 0 to 1,000 real soon. We'll get to that. Let's keep dragging on.
This is the part of the
see
episode.
something.
This is the part of the episode there where we get a nice dose of cold water, or maybe it was just me. This Universal promo right in the middle of the episode with Matt Eisman going around and giving a tour. I thought that was just the worst thing ever. I was like, why? Why do we have this?
Because Matt Eisman, tour, funny.
Do you guys like it?
I think it has more to do with they filmed on Universal Studios and they had to do Universal solid.
Well, it's NBC Universal too, right? So, I mean...
Yeah.
Well, they did something last year, so I feel like they had to do something this year, and I personally liked it. I would have liked to be on that tour. I laughed really hard when Matt Eisman was talking about the shark and the shark eating the guy and how that was like someone falling on the first obstacle.
Yeah, there was some good jokes. I will say I wish it was a little bit shorter, but I didn't hate it.
All right, just me then. I liked him. I mean, it's fine. Everybody has their opinion. I liked on Celebrity Apprentice when he did, the Harry Potter stuff and he was fanboying everywhere. So, I mean,
That was good stuff.
I have no problem with it normally. I just did not enjoy this one. So, actually, we have to talk about... So, April Steiner Bennett, I thought was going to be what would she be? The sixth woman to hit the buzzer because they promoted the heck out of her this episode and she was the next one to run.
I mean... She's an Olympic pole vaulter. We've seen just the top almost all of the top female ninjas coming from a pole vaulting background. It's not exclusive, but pole vaulters do really, really well on this show. So just seeing her accolades, I was like, oh, she is gonna go far. But she's very new to the sport. I can definitely see her being like Jessie Graff, where her second and third seasons, she is going to do some major, major damage. And even on her first season right here, she went very far. I'm really high up on this woman. She's, whew. If Olympic level pole vaulting, that is some next level athleticism, guys.
She has the coolest nickname.
Vault Chick?
The Vault Chick. Because like I said, I like the cheesiness, so I had to be like, yes, thumbs up from me.
Yeah, and it makes sense, right? Because you just point to her and you're like, that's the vaulting chick. So, makes sense.
Yeah, she looked really comfortable. She ended up following on the first transition, but she definitely showed a level of comfort and control on the course that you don't see out of many rookies. So, yeah, she's definitely someone to watch.
Mm-hmm. Give her a year of training on obstacles. She's going to do some damage.
Well, it had this weird,
Jessie.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, it was really reminiscent. They were showing all these clips of her and having other ninjas talk about her. When they showed Jessie talking about how strong she is and that she actually would beat her at pole vaulting, all I could picture in my head was Joe Moravsky talking about Jeff Britton back in the day. Like, Jeff competes back when Jeff nobody knew who the heck he was.
Wow. That's a deep cut. That is a good point, dude.
Joe's going, hey, Jeff beats me in some local competitions. He's really strong. Keep an eye on him. And I was like, really should have been our hint early on.
Yeah, I remember. I was like, yeah, sure. Yeah, that's a Jeff Britton guy. Yeah, he'll do all right.
I actually remember the first time I met Jeff Britton. It was before season 7 at a huge parkour national jam we have here in San Antonio, and Jamie Ron came down for that, and he actually stayed at my place. And, we're hanging out, we're doing a huge parkour weekend, and he's like, hey, Thomas, my friend Jeff Britton's coming into town. Let's all go meet up and, have dinner. You want to do Ninja Warrior season 7? This guy's going to do it. He did it last year. Let's, meet up. And I was like, all right, cool. And I'm hanging out with this guy I've never met before, and Jamie's just going on about how amazing he is. And they're showing me videos of Jeff doing stuff, and, I'm trying not to let my jaw drop to the floor.
So then we had a few fast forwards of our favorite ninjas, which unfortunately happened a few times. David Campbell and Natalie Duran both get fast forward at this point. David fell out on the battering ram, as did Natalie. She tried giving her arms a break by using her feet, but it wasn't quite enough for her to push through.
Yeah, I was surprised to see those runs get fast forward, especially Natalie Duran. I did not see that coming.
Well, Natalie did make the top 5 though, so I'm thinking they'll probably give her some airtime in the finale, in the city finals. That's what I'm hoping anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a very good points from both of you. You guys have anything else to say about it before I give my opinion?
No, you go right ahead.
Well, in terms of how I feel, I understand all the points. We might see them again and everything. But oh no! What? How do you skip Natalie Duran and David Campbell? One of the OGs. Oh, hell no! Y'all done messed up now. How do you do that? We have David Campbell, guys. He is in a select few of people that have achieved total victory. It may not have been on American Ninja Warrior, but he has done it. We have Natalie Duran, one of the top female ninjas in the sport. One of the most charismatic people in the entire sport. Also you, Tom Stillings. And, dude, how does this happen? And we bring up that whole Universal thing, and we're going to bring up another vignette later that could have been shorn down. Nope, y'all done messed up now. How you gonna skip these guys? Shame. I'm done. I'm sweating. I'm done.
All right, so tell us how you really feel.
Don't get me started. Triggered. It was hot.
All right, so moving on to one of our favorite
2
ninjas.
finalists in Team Ninja Warrior. 2!
Moving on to someone that was featured, one of our favorites, Kevin Bull, repping the Children's Alopecia Project. Sounds like that actually took way off from his featuring them last year. Went from 75 families to 500 at the Alopecia Palooza, which is quite the tongue twister. He just makes it look so easy. Like it's hilarious to have an outsider's perspective, and I know I keep bringing it up, but watching with my parents, they're like, couldn't believe him. Like they just like, oh my god, this guy's making it look easy. Like how is he doing this in pants? They did note that he was wearing pants for the whole thing.
Well, I mean, it's Kevin Bull.
Yeah, exactly. What are you gonna do? This guy is there. There just seems like there's a level that you reach. Like there's all of the great ninjas, and then there's the amazing ninjas, and he crosses into that next threshold.
Yeah, he's top tier, and just so happy for him because he had some stumbles last season. I'm really happy to see him back, and the kids that he inspires, just every time we see him on screen, I love seeing them. Everything about this guy was great. It was a very smooth run. I liked his approach to the course. Everything I loved.
I mean, Kevin Bull is an amazing athlete. Everything he does is controlled. It's calculated. He's probably one of the strongest athletes in Ninja Warrior today. And I have nothing but respect for that guy. He's a great friend of mine. Every time I see him, we have an awesome time. We actually we spend more time talking and just, getting to know each other more and more than we do actually training.
Yeah, I've talked to him before, and just one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. Just super nice.
It's pretty consistent right across the ninja community, isn't it? Like, is there anybody that we've met that where you're like, maybe we won't mention that guy again? Like, everybody, every guy, every girl has just been amazing.
Oh no, that Thomas Stillings guy, he's a jerk.
Well, you're supposed to wait till after the call to say that.
No, I heard about that guy. Here's like his head's way too big for his body.
Yeah, for real. Yeah.
Oh geez. Oh no. I just realized. Okay, so we had a few more fast forwards. We had Ben Mielek, Alan Keneally, and a guy named Josh Levin.
Oh God. Why? Why is this happening? He's on my fantasy team. I'm glad he made it through. Good for Josh Levin. At this point, dude, all I gotta say is Nicholas Coleridge is screwed. Any hope we had of him being on whatever, there's no chance. I feel so bad for Nicholas Coleridge. That dude could win the entire show this season, and he'll get fast-forwarded the entire time. They are just fast-forwarding through all the stars.
I totally agree with you on that. I didn't see that one coming. I mean, Ben Mielek and Alan Keneally, I was like, okay, I can kind of sort of understand that. I mean, they're really amazing athletes, but it doesn't look like in the runs they really did anything this season or last season to really, make good television, which is one of the things they do look for.
Yeah.
But Josh Levin, he was rookie of the year last year. He, got to stage 2, made it. It was like, I think he's the first rookie to actually make it on Team USA.
That's a good
Yeah,
point.
I mean, he's done so much in the off season. You would expect him to be all over this episode.
He completed stage 3.
Yeah, that's a good point. He was like,
What do you have to do?
it's very interesting, the editing choice there. But I guess that's one where we're going to probably see much more of him in the finals. I think the Natalie Duran, David Campbell is just inexcusable.
All right, so next we had Riles, Nganga. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong. He's a tow truck driver, getting his master's degree. Really interesting story.
Really, because this was the one I felt like could have been skipped. Or not skipped necessarily, but shortened down.
It could have been shortened.
I understand. Yeah. I completely understand, his backstory of him going for his master's degree and him being a tow truck driver and everything. But did we really need that long of a story about him being a tow truck driver? I mean, how relatable is being a tow truck driver?
You know what? You have a good point, because really I think the main reason they featured him because he had the most adorable kids I think I've ever seen.
They were the best.
The only thing I remember from that guy's run is Dad can't swim.
Yeah.
Yep.
He's scared of water.
I absolutely adore his children, though. They were the best. They were the cutest kids ever.
We actually had a few really cute kids. Actually, the sidelines were almost as important as the runs this episode, because at the second half anyway, there was a lot of sideline stuff that was actually taking front stage.
His kids were adorable, but they weren't the best of the season. And those kids are coming up soon.
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking.
Know what you're going at. Yep.
I definitely want to know what you guys think of the next part, where Brian Kretsch, who gets fast forwarded, has Makoto Nagano give him the backslap to start the whole thing off.
How do they do that?
Oh, I was floored.
Why do they do that? I mean, it's Makoto Nagano. You think Ninja War would be all over that? Like, he's, Nagano's here. He's watching that. You only see him. Okay, he gave Brian Kretsch a backslap. And I'm like, why was he not shown that he was there earlier in the episode?
Mm-hmm. Not only that, like, it's Makoto Nagano's patented backslap. I mean, the level of an honor and distinction that is, like, there are people that dream of that. Very curious why they didn't make more of a deal of that. And, like, Brian Kretsch, whew, what an honor. I bet you $5, like Drew Dreschel and all the other guys were just, what did he do to get that slap? I would kill for that.
Well, actually, it would have been a good chance to show Ryan Stratus and Mike Bernardo, like, bust out a clip of those two and say that this is where it comes from. This is the guy. This is where all that started.
Insane, dude.
We did get, they did show it. It was fast forwarded. Brian, unfortunately, went out on the block run.
I mean, for someone who works at a ninja gym that's also a huge parkour gym, I really thought he was going to get past that one. I was surprised to see him fall there.
Same.
Good point. If you told me to pick which one he'd fallen, that wouldn't have been the one for sure.
I would have called Battering Rams.
Next, they did a really long feature on Janique. Love it. Her mom was a drug addict. They had been evicted repeatedly while she's growing up. She was pregnant at 17. Very long story for her, but she was really interesting. It was close on the flywheels, but she pushed through. She did really well, but she was shown up by her kids in the end because he was in the sidelines just doing backflips and just like completely stealing the show.
I want that kid in my class.
Yep, all-time greatest kids.
He's doing handstands. He's like just bouncing. Like, that kid could not sit still.
Well, I mean, that kid was just all over the place, but I mean, it didn't really shy too much from the actual run athleticism of Janique, because she did very well. She got all the way, she's one of the very few women to actually make it to the warped wall. She had a clean run. There was a few close calls, but I mean, how many ninjas can actually say they have not had a few close calls on their runs?
Yeah, I absolutely loved her story. It was long, but the story was very engrossing, so I'm fine with that. And her run was absolutely fantastic. You can tell, like, I remember seeing her live, and the camera does not do it justice. This woman is, like, all muscle. Like, she is so strong in person. I'm very, very high up on Janique, and I definitely think we're going to see a lot of big things from her coming up.
She almost joined the club. She came really close to joining that club of women that have hit that buzzer.
Yeah, and it's her first year. I mean, that's really high level. And as you guys alluded to, her children, Like, that boy just doing the flips the whole time. I just was dying laughing and loving every moment of it. That kid, one of the best all-time sideline, like, family members. And Yannick, congratulations. You are tied for the athletically profound run of the night. Let's get it.
There's the bell.
So next, we did have another famous ninja get fast forward, Arnold Hernandez, who ended up going out on the battering ram.
It's tough, but, you know, it's fine. This episode was so tight and compacted with compelling stories and runners that we're probably going to see more of him later, hopefully.
Hopefully. I mean, Adam's an amazing guy. I've met him a few times, and I've wanted to make it out to his course, but I was really excited to hopefully see his run this year because I heard he, got a little redemption from last year, but his run was fast forwarded, unfortunately, and I would have liked to see the whole thing.
Yeah, really, really humble, nice guy in real life.
And he has one of the premier training facilities in, the LA area for ninjas. I mean, that's a huge story in itself.
Very good point.
All right, so on to one of our favorite competitors, Tiana Weberly, Sweet Tea.
I just want to back it up real quick before we get to Sweet Tea that they fast forwarded before her not only my girl Rebecca Bonilla, but they also fast forwarded Adam Rayo.
Right, I almost mentioned Adam. I shouldn't have skipped over him. So yeah, Adam did really well last year. He made it to stage 2, didn't he? Yeah,
he got to stage 2. He won the Wolfpack Ninja Tour over Drew Dreschel, which was absolutely insane. And, he got second fastest time overall.
Yeah, that was interesting to me because Adam Rayo, I was like, that's the dude that won the Wolfpack Ninja Tour. Like, that's the thing that stood out to me. The fact that he got such a fast run, I mean, it's interesting. I really hope they feature his story soon in the finals because this guy really, really deserves some airtime and some presence. This guy is really, really high level. And a quick shout out to Eric Gates, who was also fast forwarded. Really great guy from San Diego. Very cool. Awesome guy.
Awesome. So moving back to Sweet Tea, she ended up failing on the transition. Her hand ended up hitting the pipe on the battering ram. But she did end up in 30th place. So she did secure a spot in the finals.
She made it. Yeah, the curse of the 5th obstacle still eluding her, man.
Yeah.
Hard to see because I really, really am high up on Sweet Tea. But I'm really glad she made it through to the finals. And I have a feeling we're still going to see her actually prevail because it wasn't a situation where she was struggling too much on the obstacle. It was more of like a little technical misstep. I still think she can make it up that warped wall.
Tiana Weberly is by far one of my favorite female athletes to be in the game, period. I was really looking forward to seeing her get on top of the warped wall this year. But, I mean, that battering ram's a tricky obstacle. I mean, when you make the lache, you got to go not only forward and up, but you got to go to the side. So it adds a whole new dynamic, and it's very intimidating.
Yeah, there's so many small little components to that obstacle. Not just that, but the little holds change in size also. So there's so many things going on with that lache. It's very tricky, but as somebody that watches obstacle courses all the time, these are the things that really make me excited. I really like, and I'm sure you're the same way, Thomas, where it's like the fun part is trying to figure out that obstacle and get it right because a lot of these are about technique.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, what separates, athletes who do really well in Ninja Warrior to the ones who, have the story but don't quite do so well is the preparation with technique. I mean, if you train as many techniques as possible, when you get thrown in a new obstacle, you're not in your head thinking, oh, God, what do I do now? You're in your head thinking, okay, how can I relate this technique to the arsenal of techniques I have in my head?
Mm-hmm.
All right, moving on. We had one of probably the most compelling stories of the night. A great run, really entertaining overall. Benjamin Humphreys, a hairstylist. His brother Miles is autistic. Really, he was entertaining too, as we talk about from the sidelines and some of the interview portions when he's saying, he says like, if he hits that buzzer, I will go bananas. Like, I don't know, like just a great story. Loved it.
Mm-hmm.
Benjamin ends up smashing his nose on the flywheels. Like, it was bad enough we had other people hitting their heads. He hit his nose, and it looked like he broke it. Like, that must have hurt. Like, I can't even imagine. But he did manage to beat the course anyway.
Yeah, it's his first year, if I'm not mistaken. He did it for his brother. Amazing story, as you said. He actually has a very unique look, which I like and appreciate. And, dude, like, he busted his nose. And if you ever bust your nose, I mean, that affects your breathing so much. And on a course that's so intensive like this, I mean, that's next level. I really appreciated this guy. I honestly would have a cut eye over a busted nose any day of the week doing this obstacle course. And I was just so impressed by the fact that he got the warped wall with everything he was struggling against. Really high up on this guy. Good for him.
Yeah, his story was really, really amazing. You know, at my gym, I have, a few students who are, autistic and high functioning autistic and ADHD, many things, different backgrounds, different, mentalities. So when I saw his story, I'm like, this guy is, he's doing it for all the right reasons. And, when he busted his nose, I was like, no, you are not going down right here. Because, like you said, Rajan, it messes with your breathing. But more importantly, what it does is, I've not ever met anybody who's gotten hit in the nose and does not get teary-eyed. And that is a really big thing when you're doing something like the flywheels or the battering ram or even block run where you have to be able to focus your eyes.
Yeah, very good point. I mean, just everything about all of his sinuses are probably like really, really exposed badly. And, very impressive that he got through that. And take note, guys, like he busted his nose halfway through the course. He still had to get through 3 really, really tough obstacles past that. So just everything about this run, very impressive when you think about it.
I love how you guys are focused on the fact that, it would cause him to tear up and different things, all the kind of technical aspects in his breathing. And I'm thinking, like, it was cool when he did the scissors at the top of the wall. Like, that was really cool.
Well, that's why we got you, Rich, and we got different perspectives,
Exactly. I actually loved one of the hashtags someone used for him on Twitter, too. They put hashtag running with scissors. I thought that's great. He should have that on his shirt for sure.
But now he's got to do that every year.
Yes, he does. Well, he doesn't have to hit his nose every year at least.
Oh, please no. Please no.
Yeah. That poor guy. Could you imagine him just being like, here's the part.
Oh, he did it again. No, yeah, so next was like one of the top competitors in the sport. We had Flippy take the course.
Flippy
Rodriguez.
Best name ever.
That was hilarious. I loved it.
He did not want that to become a thing. He's like, nope. Please no. Now everybody's going to call me Flippy.
You can see the realization in his eyes, like, oh, this is now going to be a thing. He's a motivational speaker now. I can't think of anyone better to do that. I think he's amazing, not just for his athletic prowess, but he's been inspiring for years, and especially last year with his story and coming out. Can't say enough about him. He was actually had a really cautious run compared to usual, but he almost ran down the cameraman when he decided to turn on the afterburners at the warped wall. So it was really cool. It was a really good run.
He got really close. And, with Flip, he might be the one ninja that connects more, well, other than you, Tom, I guess. But he really connects a lot to children, like from all backgrounds and everything. And kids really look up to this guy. So it says a lot about, him showing his vulnerable side and talking about what he's been through in his life. I mean, we all remember last year, that was so heartbreaking and gut-wrenching. And it took a lot of courage from him to speak about that. And I'm glad that he's using it for a positive, in a positive way. And yeah, just everything about him, you can't not like this guy. It's impossible. And I loved it. Poor Flippy. He's just going to be known as that from now on.
I love watching Flip Rodriguez run. There's a few athletes that, when I'm getting ready to, hit a course, whether it be, A&W or a local competition, he's one of the competitors I go back and watch his runs because he's always super controlled in his movements. He never does something that he hasn't planned for. If he does something, he's planned to do that thing. Ever since A&W season 6, it's just been, a different Flip. And it's, like I said, he's more controlled. He's 100% confident in his skill and where he's at in life, that this is what I'm going to do. And if it doesn't work out, I've accepted it. But, I'm not going to fall because I didn't plan for something. I'm going to fall because I wasn't strong enough. or I'm going to get past it because I have the mentality to get past it.
Yeah, I think that when he fell racing against Drew Drechsel, that really did something to him where he's like, I'm no longer trying to be the fastest on the course. Like, it was very fun watching them compete against each other to get the fastest time, but I think it hit him like it's more important to get to the finals, and I really much appreciate his approach to the course.
You know, I think that's why we like Team Ninja Warrior so much, because we can watch them go all out, and it's not the end of their season if they fall. You know, when I say they, I mean you. when you guys run the course, it's so fun to watch Team Ninja Warrior because there is stakes, but not quite to the same level. And especially on the earlier runs, you can just go all out and do the best you can.
Yeah, and we still have the Genie Ninja versus Daniel Gill every year, so we have that.
Oh yeah, you know, and that's a interesting rivalry that AEW's kind of like, you know, really thrown out there.
Love it. My new favorite rivalry by far.
Love it still. And Rich, you better have that clip ready. The post then.
Yes, I'll link the little animated. I don't know if Thomas, you ever saw that. I did a stupid little
love
cartoon.
that animation.
Yeah, I meant to keep doing them, but I discovered quickly that it is very, very time consuming, and I wasn't terribly happy with the results. It wasn't quite what I wanted, but I do have some more stuff coming along those same lines, so you'll be seeing that soon.
Ooh, a tease.
Back to the show. We have some fast forwards. Somebody from College Ninja Warrior, I don't know if you noticed, Bijan, Charlie Andrews.
Oh, I sure did. I was really surprised. I'm actually really happy he at least got to compete. Charlie Andrews was a very big standout for College Ninja Warrior. And the whole time I was like, man, these MIT kids, they are good. So, I don't know. I'm really excited to see him compete in the finals and everything.
Yeah, I mean, Charlie is very skilled, as well as, you know, he's got the backing from his friend Josh Levin, Rookie of the Year last year. So that might be a hint that maybe we should probably watch out for this guy.
Yeah, and they can make like a nerd brigade or whatever you want to do. Like, make a Schick or whatever. Like, it works. And this guy is so good.
The Big Bang Ninjas. I don't know what you would call them. You got to tie it into that show somehow.
Do not do that. Nope. That is not the name for it, but there's other ones.
There needs to be a team of like Daniel Gill, Josh Levin, and, you know, I'm throwing out there. I think, you know, Charlie Andrews is going to be a force to be reckoned with, because, you know, I've heard a lot about him from Josh Levin. He's very skilled. Those three need to like team up, and I think, you know, as all like they're the Rookie of the Years for all their seasons. I'm calling Charlie Andrews as a guy to watch out for.
Ooh, a pick for Rookie of the Year. You know, that is a very good pick. I don't know who would beat him because they're all rookies, but he's definitely up there.
Charlie shouldn't be in groups of three because I feel like that's too tempting for them to call it Charlie's Angels or something. Like, we just got to avoid that.
Yes.
Oh. Why'd you bring that into the world? Oh.
Can I be Bosley?
No. Hey, you go ahead, bro.
Yes.
And we also fast forwarded. I was a little surprised, actually. Nick Hansen, the Eskimo Ninja. They featured Grant McCartney training with him. I thought they might show him too. He ended up beating the course. It's nice to see that he's back and still just as strong as ever.
Yeah, very interesting that it skipped him because he was featured so predominantly, as you said, in the story with Grant McCartney, and you'd expect that video to kind of feature both of them, and then they both run. I don't know. I'm glad he at least made it through, but that was a very interesting choice also for a skip. That video was awesome, guys. Like, Grant McCartney and the Eskimo Ninja on their wild adventures in Alaska. You can't ask for more. That was so awesome.
Anything Grant McCartney related is amazing. He knows how to make anything seem like the funnest activity in the world.
Yeah. And dude, they made a freaking igloo. Like, how dope is that?
That's pretty cool. So I have one complaint. Can you guess what that complaint is? I know you're probably bracing for it because it's my rant.
Palm Wonderful.
Damn Palm Wonderful again. We have one run left for the night. We haven't handed out Palm Wonderful. I wonder if Grant's going to make it through. Maybe he'll have a slip-up. Maybe something will go unexpected. No, it couldn't possibly be because Palm Wonderful hasn't been given out yet.
Dude, I never noticed these Palm Wonderful things.
You never know who's going to get them. Like you said, it's up in the air.
So thankfully, Grant decided to erase the dab from his repertoire, at least. I mean, he had to be dying to get up there and do some other dance so people would stop getting him to dab.
You knew he was like dying inside every time, like a year after the dab was no longer a thing. He has to watch himself do a dab. I felt so bad for him. And the Running Man, now that I think about it.
I'm just going to throw this out there. I've never been a fan of the dab. When I saw, Grant do that last year, I kind of just face palmed myself like, why would you do that? You're going to regret that. Come to 6 months, you'll regret that.
I think that was a lesson hard learned, I'm sure.
Yeah, especially because this new dance, it's like very just like your own thing. It's very chill. He's not trying to do the Running Man or the dab or anything that will like fade away months after this, like it's actually filmed or airing. And I'm glad, because that was the number one thing I was worried about with Grant McCartney. I felt like he would already like destroy this course, right? But I was like, oh, I really hope he doesn't not embarrass himself, but I know, just figuring like what kind of guy this guy is, that he was not enjoying watching himself months later doing the dab and the Running Man, that he's got to do something that will be his own and can't be like in the public light. Because like the dab and the Running Man was the equivalent of him doing a fidget spinner right now, and that's just not going to be cool.
I was just about to say, at least he didn't this year pull out a fidget spinner from his pocket.
Yeah, I was just waiting for it.
That would have been brutal.
And Pokemon Go. I'm sure there was something he could have done that would have been worse, but it would be hard.
Hey, you can't nag on Pokemon Go. I may or may not have done something Pokemon related last year.
Oh, everybody was playing Pokemon Go last year. I may or may not have been out this past weekend, so I can't say much.
I remember last year in Season 8 when I hit the buzzer in Stage 1, I ran to the end and I just screamed out to the, directing my enthusiasm to the course that you don't have enough badges to train me.
That is actually awesome.
That's great.
That can go in many ways, honestly. Like, I could definitely see that being pretty awesome.
Yeah, Pokemon has never really gone out of style. It's just that Pokemon Go that did for a bit.
Well, if you pull out Pokemon Go, I mean, a part of me would die inside if I saw it on the television. So, yeah.
I had to say, though, I did not... Well, I mean, once they showed the timer, I knew he was going to get it. But fastest time of the night, that's pretty unusual for Grant.
I was completely shocked when I saw that. I mean, I've competed with Grant many times in Ninja Warrior, Vegas 2 years in a row, and he's a very talented athlete, but I never looked at him as being one of those fast athletes until I saw him at the Wolfpack Ninja Tour, and he destroyed my time. And I was like, oh man, where is this guy, in the regular season? And there he is, at LA qualifying.
Yeah, I think his first year he took a more cautious approach because he was, large. And I think the more he's trained and everything, the more comfortable he's got tackling on the courses, and he probably understands his body at this point where he's going in there very confident in what he can do. So I think that has a lot to do with his speed, and very impressive that he beat out Josh Levin, Flip Rodriguez, and Kevin Bull. I mean, those are some very fast ninjas. So good on him. And Adam Rail.
And Brian Wolczewski.
What happened?
He was fourth. So looking at the top 30, that was it for the episode. You look at the top 30, I was kind of seeing who did we miss completely? Who didn't even get a fast forward? And I saw two.
A lot.
Well, there was two that really stood out to me. One more than the other. Brian Wolczewski stood out because that guy, I guess, skipped over all the time. But at least he got to run the course this year, which is great. He did get the invite. But also Gabe Hurtado, I was very excited to see, had made it through. So shout out to Gabe because he does listen to the podcast. Last I checked anyway. So, there wasn't too many that I recognized. I'm sure you guys probably could pick out a few more.
Yeah, there were some really good competitors. A lot were skipped. One competitor that I have to say, keep an eye out for Sander Odish. He made it into the finals, and this guy is very, very talented in the Southern California regional circuit in terms of Ninja Warriors. Very good. Every time you ever go to any gym or anything, there he is, just killing the course. This guy trains relentlessly. He lives Ninja Warrior. Very high up on him, and he's won a lot of competitions out here. So he can definitely do some damage.
I was looking at the list. Out of all the athletes that were not shown, that I was really surprised to see, Brian Wolczewski along, same as you, Rich. Brian Wolczewski was the biggest one that stood out to me. I'm like, whoa, one of the Wilczewski brothers. What happened there? But out of all the athletes, I'd say I honestly want to say to watch out for that her run was not shown. She was fast forward. It was Rebecca Bonilla. She's insanely strong. I had the amazing opportunity to train with her at a Ninja Warrior event, and I was completely shocked. She's got some skill. I really, keep your eyes on her.
Will do. That's a good one.
So there were changes to the rules this year, and there's been a little bit of controversy, to say the least. The women now compete against each other for the spots, and there will be at least 5 women that move on to the city finals, and there will be at least 2 women that move on to Vegas from every city. And this is replacing, to be clear, because there seems to be a lot of confusion around this and a lot of people complaining, it's not replacing the competition of the men and women on the course. It's really just replacing the wild card system that people have been complaining about for years. Mm-hmm. This just ensures that the strongest women make it through to Vegas. There is no favoritism, which has been complained about endlessly. Only the strongest make it through, and I think it is a fantastic change.
I'm going to second that with you, Rich. I was really happy to see this rule because there has been a lot of controversy about the wild cards because, you look at the wild card slot and you're like, okay, I feel like these wild cards should be going to athletes who have in the past done really well, but, in qualifying or state finals, they just, had one bad night. Example, Atlanta qualifying, J.J. Woods going off on the second obstacle. He would have killed it on a normal night, but he just had one mental break, and I feel like he should have gotten a wild card. But, this is really taking that out of perspective of there are no more wild cards. It's everybody and anybody's game. The past couple of years, almost every single wild card has gone to a female athlete. So, it's turned into, okay, the top females are going to go, not just who we think is going to sell on TV.
Yeah, it's a 3-person agreement. I mean, I love this rule change. It is definitely well thought out also. All the points that you guys made, completely agree with. I mean, it's in many ways going to help out the wild card situation that a lot of people have been complaining about. And it, as you said, Tom, I mean, it brings up the top female ninjas to the finals. But the number one thing for me is of why, I don't understand why people are complaining is the Vegas finals are still everybody for themselves. It's an equal competition. There's no safeguards. There's no easy runs for the women to do out there. It's all equal. So it's just in many ways a penchant for them to get to the finals and having the strongest women get to the finals without complaining about namesake or favoritism or anything else. So very much appreciate this. I love it. And we saw even in this episode, they still highlighted the women that made it in the top 30 with the men. So in many ways, it's just ensuring that there are 5 women going to the finals and then 2 women at least making it to the Vegas finals. If there are more women that get in that top, I think it's 15 that go to the Vegas finals, they're going to be part of that. So I'm all for it.
I love how the women have stepped up their game to the point that it's becoming less noteworthy in a way. And that's a little strange, but we're going to lose count. Eventually we're just not going to be able to count how many women have hit the buzzer. And they really didn't overhype the fact that 2 women hit the top 30, whereas a couple of seasons ago it was unprecedented, right? When Jessie did it the first time, it was they lost their minds. Everybody, I lost my mind at home because it was so exciting, it was so cool. Mm-hmm. And now it's 2 women made it through, and they're going to have 5 run because of the new rule. But that was kind of an aside, right? It's the women are competing at that level now. It's nice to see them cracking into that top 30 and have it go almost unremarked.
Yeah,
completely agree, dude.
I've trained and competed with a lot of females who have beaten me multiple times, calling out Barclay Stockett. She's an amazing female athlete to watch out for. She was on Daniel Gill's team for Team Ninja Warrior, and she's done stuff that I'm physically not even able to do.
She's really good. Definitely good.
So the women they're picking up their game. They're stepping it up. It's no longer, you have the male athletes and the female athletes. It's turning into, you have athletes.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, it's all these athletes going to one central source or crescendo of the season in the Vegas finals, where everybody's tackling that course. And I guess everybody needs to remember that it's all of these athletes going against the course, and that's what's the most important thing. It's trying to conquer Mount Midoriyama.
So that is just about it for this episode.
Awesome, yeah.
Thomas, how can people reach out to you on social media? Instagram, at Genie Ninja, Twitter's at Genie Ninja, and or at SA Crew Stillings. Ow. And I also got a YouTube channel. It's William Stillings. That is my middle name is William. You can also find me at Thomas Stillings. I have a few different YouTube channels where I have a few of my runs up. And, my Facebook athlete page, Thomas Stillings. It's a great... I try to stay on that as much as possible, but the best place to find out what I'm doing and what stupid things I have in my training arsenal, hint, hint, coming out in a couple weeks, is my Instagram, which is at Genie Ninja.
Mm-hmm. And definitely check out his Instagram because it is quite amazing. I've been looking at some of your videos and great stuff. Very charismatic. Like, you are very comfortable in front of the camera, which is a major thumbs up on your side. Great stuff. Definitely check it out, guys.
Yeah, man, you guys got to come down and train with me sometime. We do all the fun stuff. If you're ever in San Antonio, hit up my gym, Jump Flip Land. We're located right next to the airport. I can come pick you up and, just let me know when you land.
That's happening. And you could just see how crappy I am when it comes to Ninja Warrior. This Spartan right here, oh boy. Yeah, that'll be fun, bro.
Yeah, I'd love to come watch you guys do that.
Yeah, and don't forget to watch me and hit me up on San Antonio qualifying airing on the 19th.
That's a great point.
We are looking forward to that.
Yes, definitely looking forward to that. And if you'd like to reach out to us, you can reach me at rich@ninjapodcast.com. I am at Ninja Podcast on both Twitter and Instagram. And Bijan, how can they reach you?
Hit me up at Twitter and Instagram at Bijan151. That is BIJAN 151.
All right, thank you all for listening, and I hope you have a fantastic week.
Peace, y'all. The bell is real.
Armchair Ninja Podcast out. Ow.